2017 has been described as the safest year for aviation in Nigeria as the nation's safety records continue to improve. Reports indicate that there were no commercial passenger jet deaths in 2017, even though accidents resulting in 44 onboard fatalities and 35 injuries on the ground were recorded. However, this seemingly improving record appears to be threatened. A couple of weeks ago, the door of a commercial airplane that was taxiing down the runway after landing from Lagos to Abuja fell off, throwing the passengers into panic. Just a few days ago, another passenger airline was prevented from landing as cows strayed into the runway of the Akure Airport in Ondo State. As if that was not enough, tragedy was averted again when another commercial aircraft flying from Abuja to Port Harcourt overshot the runway at the Port Harcourt International Airport. Is the Nigerian aviation sector undergoing some turbulence? That is our focus on Nigeria today. I am Joy Osiago. Thanks for joining us. Joining us to discuss safety in the Nigerian aviation sector is a professional aircraft maintenance engineer. To my far left, Bolahan Agbaton. He's an accountable manager at Airfirst Aviation Limited. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Also with us is Godi Ike, an aviation expert. Thanks for joining us, Godi.
Thank you, Joe.
Now, gentlemen, since 2014, it's obvious that we've enjoyed relative peace and tranquility in the aviation sector since we didn't hear about any mishap. But if you consider events in recent past, it looks like that peace is being threatened. Engineer Bolahan, are you concerned about this development?
Yes, I am concerned. When I read about the first incident on Dana airline, the aircraft that landed with the emergency exit opening on taxiing, I mean, I was disturbed because that shouldn't have happened at all. Because the emergency exit, you know, it's kind of part of the airframe structure of the aircraft, and you only open it when you have an emergency and then when you're doing maintenance. Chances are that maintenance activities were carried out maybe a night before, or must be a night before on the aircraft, and the personnel that fitted the emergency exit didn't put it right. And the question is, some people ask, why didn't this door fall off in flight? You know, because the pressure in the cabin of the aircraft at high altitude is higher than the pressure outside. And the emergency exit is meant to open inward into the cabin. So when you pull the handle, it opens inward, and then the cabin crew takes it and then throw it out for passengers, you know, to be evacuated. So, but on landing, the pressure outside, the atmospheric pressure outside, it's definitely higher than the pressure in the cabin of the aircraft. So that's why the door got sucked in, or was pushed in from outside by the pressure, and that shouldn't have happened. On the door, almost all pressurized airplanes have this emergency exit, and then there are kind of spigots, like pins at the bottom of the door that sit in the hole on the structure. That is the first safety device, and then the second one is when you now pull the handle down to lock position, then there are other spigots that will move out from the exit into the aperture where it sits, and that put it in place firmly.
Now here we are doing a critical analysis. The ordinary man outside will say, it happened. You just said that it shouldn't have happened, but it happened.
Yeah, so it's human error, I'll put it that way.
What's your take on this issue, Mr. Godi?
I am quite impressed Engineer Boraho's take on this, because I had actually discussed this on ITV a week ago, and exactly the same pressure issue was an issue I raised. But let me come quickly to the issue of human error that he has concluded with. That is correct. I have said these severally, that Dana Air appears to operate recklessly. And I must tell you this very seriously, because anybody who bothers to take a look at how this airline has been coming on should go to my blog and the bubble burst. I did a comprehensive job on it, and the bubble burst, the complete story of the air crash, and I was referring to the issue that took place in 2012.
Well, Mr. God, I don't want us to limit it to a particular airline. I mean, let's look at, because we're looking at the issue of safety generally.
Okay, safety generally. Sector. Well, we start from the one we know now that is going on wrong again. Okay, I would say that the attitude we have as a people when it concerns serious matters such as aviation is quite poor. We do not take things that we should take seriously as they need. Aviation is all about safety. Everything you do in aviation, safety is number one. And then after that, anything else, can follow. But you see, I can't tell this whole story without really sharing with you, my experience once. Okay, let me say on one of the airlines where passengers were seated and they were busy tinkering with the engine when we were already boarded. It's Engineer Bolahan will confirm to you that is a taboo in aviation.
All right, let me go to Engineer Bolahan. Yeah. Let's talk about the issue of regulation and issue of sanction in the aviation sector, because when people go wrong, they must be punished. How are we doing in terms of regulation and policy to check this?
Yeah, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has, all these regulations in place, and it is the responsibility of every operator to make sure that they operate by the rules, to go by the regulations. And the civil aviation authorities have all these inspectors everywhere, both on the operation side and on the technical side, that when an operator goes outside the envelope of the safety regulation, then they get sanctioned.
So who is responsible for the laxity in the system? Because it is obvious that someone is not doing his or her job at the moment.
Joe, let me say there's something that is not correct in the way we take incidents in aviation and accidents. They will always say to you, we are investigating, especially AIB will say to you, and I'm talking about Accident Investigation Bureau, right? They will say to you that we are investigating in order to find out what went wrong and ensure that it doesn't happen again. They are not investigating to hold somebody responsible. True or false?
Well, it's both ways. They investigate to hold somebody responsible and then to make sure that this does not happen again.
But how often do we punish culprits?
Oh, they do sanction. NCA, it is the responsibility of NCA to sanction the airlines. But all these things will still come up again. And then, NCA cannot come to the airline office, sit with them, and then operate with them on a daily basis until when we have situations like this. And then, but they do have regular audit of every company. Where they go, they look at your books, they see your maintenance practices and the records, and then they look at your operation, they look at your personnel and all that. But if you look at the recent events, it's more, at least the two that I know on Dana, the one of last night and the door, I can relate the two to human error. Nothing to do, when you say human error, you look at the management side. There must be something that the management of this airline are not doing very well, that is affecting this staff, or staff themselves. So that is a critical area that Nigerian civil aviation definitely will look into.
All right, still staying with you, Engineer Bolahon. I mean,
Yes.
what does it take to certify a nation's aviation industry? And let's look at it from the point of view of when we purchase an aircraft,
Yeah.
to someone taking a look at it to be sure that it is in order with modern standards, and down to the issue of maintenance.
Yeah.
What does it take?
Well, it takes a lot.
Let's hear it.
All right. Yeah. When an operator set out to want to purchase an aircraft, the head of maintenance of that company will have to go first and look at this aircraft to be sure that, yes, we're getting a good aircraft for for our operation before the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority will go there. The same job that the head of maintenance of this company has done is what the Nigerian Civil Aviation will go and repeat again. So you now have like a duplicate inspection of that aircraft before it's finally certified to come into Nigeria.
Is the Nigerian Civil Aviation doing that?
Oh yeah, they do that.
Okay, let's go to Mr. Godi. Let's look at assessment of Nigeria's investment in both human and technology to ensure safety in our airspace. How well are we doing that? Let's hear from your perspective.
I must be frank, we're not doing well. We are just not doing well. If you look at even the attitude of workers, at the airport, you will find that the sort of seriousness and sternness, because you need to be serious and stern in order to to have people doing what they should do at all times, don't exist. For instance, there was a time that we did a show on bed strike and provided a lot of suggestions as to how we could keep beds away from, that includes even cows, away from the airport, vicinity. And I personally took a trip to the airport to find out if we have animal management department. It is a department that must be there if we really want to deal with these issues seriously. Joy, I didn't find anyone to talk to here in Abuja. And when I went to the NCAA office to try to see the boss, it was a tug of war to cross the gate, and somebody wanted to know why I wanted to see him. And I made it clear that, listen, I need to see somebody or a department that is in charge of animal management. And they said, okay, you can't see the boss, he's not there. And after a little bit of argument, they let me in. I waited for a while, filled the form, and waited for some time, and I never saw him. The next thing I heard was that he was doing inspection at the airport. Then I left information that I should be contacted. I run a TV program on aviation every Monday morning, and that I needed to find out if we had animal management department to ensure that cows don't come around, birds are scared away in order not to keep hitting jet engines in the name of bed strike. Right. And so here we are just not doing what we should do. That must be taken seriously. We are not doing what we should do.
So Engineer Bolahon, listening to him now, can we attribute some of the mishap in recent times to human fault, or has it got to do with technical?
I would say it's more of a human. What has happened in the recent time, it's more of human negligence, I would say. Especially the first one of the door, and then the one that happened last night. The one that happened last night, just unfortunate, because the aircraft operation department, the airline operation department must have received the weather report, both in Abuja and Port Harcourt, to ensure that, yes, it was safe for the aircraft to take off, fly, land in Port Harcourt. But unfortunately, yeah, they had rain, heavy rain in Port Harcourt. There is nothing wrong with an aircraft landing, in the rain.
So as an expert now, would you say the human aspect of it is more than the mechanical?
Yeah, it's more than the mechanical. I mean, the human aspect of it is more than the mechanical, because the aircraft was okay. There was nothing wrong with the aircraft, and they're veering off the wrong way. I mean, the aircraft is being controlled by somebody.
All right.
Not computer.
All right. This is Nigeria Today on NTA News 24. We have been looking at aviation safety in Nigeria against the background of recent accidents in the sector. The program returns after the break.
Coming up on NTA News 24. Nigeria Today, 7:30, Monday to Friday, with exciting anchors on topical issues. Inspirators, a search for those who inspire others. Business 24, a business magazine program. Late edition repackaged. Fresh and exciting programming on NTA News 24. Stay with us.
Thank you for staying with us. It's Nigeria Today, and we're looking at the issue of the aviation sector and safety. I'll start with you, Engineer Bolaho. Nigeria has signed into the Africa Single Air Initiative, which means that there could be increased air traffic. What does that mean for Nigeria? What do we need to do to prepare for this?
Well, it's a good thing for Nigeria, I would say, because Nigeria is a huge market. And almost everybody wants to come to Nigeria. All the airlines from other countries want to come to Nigeria, peak and go. But in this case now, it means as other foreign airline comes into Nigeria, Nigerian operators can equally operate their aircraft into all these countries. So, I mean, Nigerians, as we know, we like to, patronize our own. So this would definitely help our operators if they are well prepared and well equipped to tap into the opportunities. But how prepared are they? We have to find out.
How well are we doing with the regulations of ICAO?
The regulations of ICAO. Of course, Nigeria is maintaining a Category 1 status at the moment. And then for us to have Category 1 means, yes, we're doing very well with the ICAO regulation. Otherwise, we'll have been withdrawn from us, and then we just become one of those local countries, I would say.
All right, Mr. Godi,
Yes.
let's look at the issue of maintenance, culture, and infrastructure in the aviation sector. Where is Nigeria?
We are far, far, far behind.
Why is that?
The reason is simply attitude. Nigeria is a wealthy nation. This country has got money. So money is not the problem. What's more, the money generated in the airport by FAN can actually keep all our airports running optimally if these monies were, deployed to, getting the job done. But the fact is, people appear to, go on with this attitude of nothing can really happen. And you find out that when people misbehave, they don't get punished. They are not seen to have been punished. And I often say this to anyone that bothers to listen. If we don't send a strong signal that we have laws in this country, and that the laws that we have teeth, can bite, are willing to bite, and we bite when they catch you doing the wrong things. If that signal doesn't go across, Joy, no one will get serious. And that's exactly what's going on in our nation. It's not just only in the aviation sector. It appears to just be happening and free for all, and we regard this as freedom.
Mr. Bolaho, would you, Engineer Bolaho, will you accept what he's saying? Because in other words, he's saying the aviation sector at the moment may seem to look like a toothless bulldog.
Yeah, we agree with him to some extent.
Okay, let's hear your view.
Yeah, Yeah, we have the regulatory bodies there, and then we have, that's NCA, we have FAN, which is the Federal Airport Authority Management Company. And like he rightly said, if we have a very strong and firm, commitment from these two bodies, a lot of things will not go wrong in the industry, I would say.
He also touched on the issue of money. Do we have a problem with funding in the Nigerian aviation sector?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
We don't. It's a whole lot,
It's a lot
of
of
money.
Okay,
Over $1 billion monthly by a fan only here. Right here.
Generated.
Generated over $1 billion monthly.
All right, let's look at the issue of training. How often do we get these engineers and pilots trained?
Well, the training, I mean, every airline has a training, have their own training programs, and then the Civil Aviation Authority ensures that all the personnel, the cabin crew, the engineers, and the pilots go for their recurrent training. Like, let me take pilots, for instance, depending on the size of the aircraft you fly. Some pilots may have to go twice a year for their simulator training. Simulator, like you do recurrency. You go and repeat what you have been taught just to get yourself, online all the time to be able to face emergency situations. And then for engineers, yes, they do that every 12 months. They have to go for their training. And when you're renewing your engineer's license, for instance, you have to show proof of training certificate, that you've received in the last 12 months. Otherwise, your license will not be renewed.
Mr. Godi, we have looked at a couple of issues. We've touched on challenges. Now let's begin to proffer solutions, because the essence of the program is to analyze the problems, the challenges, and proffer solutions. What can we do at this point in time to ensure that what has happened in recent time does not happen again?
Yeah, let me get back to what Engineer Bolahan mentioned here about the training. The type of training that he touched on is not the training that is lacking. What's lacking right now is that training that gives people an idea of how to, intermingle with colleagues in a work environment. That training that gives you sense of dedication. You may be a wonderful engineer, you know everything that you need to know, but you find yourself in an environment that is unserious. What happens to you is that you just get sucked into the unseriousness, and you find yourself begin to behave wrongly and not getting the job done as well as it should.
So what do we need to do to get the job done?
Yes, that's right. What we need to do is to channel the training that they require. I've actually personally spoken to a couple of senior staff of FAAN on the need to do a different kind of training. And in all fairness to them, they didn't say, no, we can't do this. They said to me, come forward with the type of training you think that we need to add to the professional ones they already have. And I must tell you, Joy, that I am at the finishing touches, big package, to pass it on to them and say, if you take a look at this and you're happy with it, let's begin to change the way people think.
All right.
And the way people behave.
Okay.
That will help them do better with the knowledge they already have, professionally speaking.
Okay, let's go to Engineer Bolahan on your final thoughts about what we need to do to go back to the situation, the peace we've been enjoying since the year 2014 till now. What do we need to do in the aviation sector?
Well, I think it's for the Civil Aviation Authority to now go back into auditing all the existing airlines in Nigeria, to carry out audits on them, to find out what is going on. Are they struggling financially? Are there anything, lacking in terms of government policies and all that? So if NCA can come up with this audit now, then they'll be able to find out what is going on, because during the audit, they will speak with the management and they will speak with the personnel. Chances are that there's a big gap between the management and the personnel are not happy, and they just do whatever they like.
What about the issue of keeping a check on commercial airlines to ensure that they adhere to rules and regulation?
Yeah, they do that.
How often do they do that?
They do that all the time. I mean, I work closely with the Civil Aviation Authority person. I know almost everybody there, and I see them on the field. They go check the aircraft, check, you know, the pilots, and ask for their certificate to make sure that yes, they're current, and then check this serviceability of the aircraft. They check all these things, but you know what will go wrong will go wrong. So that's why the authority now needs to take it further, because these inspectors only check the personnel on the field, but there has to be an audit of the management of the airline.
All right, Mr. God, you were about to say something.
Yes. He made a comment that, you know, struck a chord in me. They would do the check, but what will happen will happen. That was the language. All right. It brings
but the thing is, how often?
Yes, it brings you back to the fact that yes, it will seem that the job is being done, but in reality, it's all maybe compromising. You know, you don't come to somebody that you want to audit and begin to be his or her friend. No, auditors are not supposed to be friends of those they audit.
All right. This is Nigeria Today on NTA News 24, and we have been looking at aviation safety in Nigeria against the background of recent accidents in the sector. I have been speaking with a professional aircraft maintenance engineer, Bolahon Agbaton, an accountable manager at Airfirst Aviation Limited. Thank you very much for joining us,
You're
Mr.
welcome.
Bolahon. And Mr. Godiki, an aviation expert. Gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, that's it for this edition. Join us for another edition tomorrow. Bye for now.